Welcome. My name is Juliana Olayinka. I am a broadcast journalist and the director of IORMA Africa. Thank you so much for joining us for this pretty special In Discussion With. And today I'm being joined by a very special lady who goes by the name of Allyson Stewart-Allen. Many of you may be familiar with her because she has been a member of the IORMA board for God. How long now, Allyson, has it been?
I want to say maybe 8-9 years.
Wow, 8 or 9 years. But now we're going to be speaking with Allyson about a very special event that I'm sure we were all tuned in with, which is the US presidential election 2020. Billions of us around the world, not just those who are in America, will engrossed by all of the action. And so we will be discussing that today. I'll very briefly just explain for those who may not be familiar with Allyson, who exactly she is. Allyson is a renowned advisor, author, speaker, educator, and non-executive director on several boards. Her expertise is in brand internationalization and is sought by leading businesses globally through her consultancy, publications, appearances, and corporate education. Many of you may have been familiar with Allyson by seeing her speak on BBC, on Sky News, and various other broadcasters. Let me just start at the beginning. My goodness, Allyson, what an unimaginable 7 days it has been. Before we get into the detail, could you just give me your own personal assessment of how this week has unfolded in American politics?
Yeah, well, it's been very exciting, to say the least. The eyes of the world have been on my home country. I'm originally from LA. I've been in London 32 years now. And I have to say I'm now feeling very proud again to be an American. And I can't say that that's been the case for the last 4 years. So the world has been looking at the country with intrigue, of course, but especially watching this election in terms of what does it mean for businesses that are exporting to the US or want to do business with Americans. For the Americans that are looking to do business in the UK and beyond. And, you know, I think there's a general sigh of relief that Biden and his win heralds a new era for brand USA and also the re-engagement of the United States with global communities, not least climate change, on healthcare, and the WHO is an organization that Biden has already said within 72 hours of his election that he intends to rejoin that institution. So I think it bodes very well that the country is looking to become less insular, less isolated, and to renew its connections with the rest of the world, which is a fantastic thing.
Can President-elect Joe Biden fix Brand USA? And for those of us who may have forgotten exactly what it is, can you remind us?
First, can the brand be resurrected? Absolutely. It's already starting. With Biden's announcement, him and Kamala Harris jointly announcing their re-engagement with the Paris Climate Accord, the WHO, the UN. This already heralds a new era for the country, and therefore how the world thinks of the country. So that's already underway. But the issue is that it isn't just them that reflect the brand of the United States. It's also the other people in the marketing team, which includes the Secretary of State, yet to be appointed, and the US Trade Representative, also yet to be appointed. And the reason those two posts are equally important is because you can think of the Secretary of State as the maybe international head of sales or international marketing director. And the role that she or he takes on is to engage countries around the globe around diplomacy, And we know that diplomacy and business are integrally linked. You don't do one without the other. So no doubt, Biden is extremely aware that relations with countries around the world, not least the UK, the European Union, are pretty key, especially with free trade agreements pending. The question then, though, is where in the Biden-Harris priority list do the UK and EU fall? And given the domestic agenda that they have, which is around COVID-19, it's around the economy, it's around generally the Affordable Care Act and access to health care, amongst several other issues that are going to preoccupy them for the first several months, if not at least the first year. Focusing attention on the UK and the EU, it'll happen, but it won't be quick. There's no hurry. The focus is on getting Americans to be healthier, to survive a global pandemic, and to look at issues that are closer to home.
Donald Trump is still citing electoral fraud. He's yet to concede. But this morning we had the first look at perhaps what big business is going to think of a Biden administration. And there was a huge rally in the Asian markets in Europe, and we're expecting there to be a rally on Wall Street. What relationship do you think Biden's administration will have with big business? Because despite Donald Trump's overinflated financial status, they didn't really gel with him.
No. And I think because Biden's first priority is to heal the US, to heal the divisions, to calm the markets, to demonstrate stability, that in and of itself will already be a fillip for business leaders, because the volatility that surrounded the Trump administration was extremely worrying for companies that were trying to do long-term planning. Policies were created by Twitter rather than through the traditional and more formal and professional process of lawmaking. So it looks like we will return now to a more stable approach to lawmaking in the United States, and therefore US companies will be very happy for that stability, and therefore planning in the midst of one of the most significant downturns since the Great Depression in our history.
Silicon Valley have faced a lot of scrutiny over the past couple of months, particularly here in Europe. There are new digital taxes that the French and the British are keen on imposing on these tech giants. And then, of course, you've got hot competition coming in from China with Huawei and TikTok and the like. How do you think Biden will be with these big tech giants? Do you foresee really heavily tax for them?
I think there's a couple things on the horizon for them. Firstly, regulation. I think that they would be naive to think that they can escape closer scrutiny from Congress and all sides of the House and the Senate. So I fully expect before taxes arise in terms of their operations outside the United States, I think first a reassessment of their statuses in many cases as publishers versus just platforms is a fundamental shift that I think they can expect. And on the back of that, I think, yes, there will certainly be an examination of their tax bases, their tax structures, because of course the US is not getting anything like a share of their worldwide income of the likes of Facebook and Alphabet, the parent company of Google, and the many other LinkedIn, et cetera, the many other tech businesses that have so far found a respite in Ireland, where in many cases they get a lower corporation tax regime. The conflict might, interestingly, be that, given Biden's Irish roots and close ties and sentiment with Ireland, that could be an interesting area to watch.
What next should we expect in the ongoing trade war between Beijing and Washington? This morning, the Chinese Foreign Ministry, they stopped short from congratulating Joe Biden. They said there's a legal process that has to play out. Some would say that was a diplomatic response. Others say they're just allowing the system to take its course. How will this relationship evolve, do you think?
I think the relations will be less black and white, less extreme about are you a friend or are you a foe? In a global economy in which the US is an integral player, we don't have these divides of extreme friend or foe. It's about the shades of gray, and it's about the extent to which China and access to Chinese consumers, Chinese industry for American businesses, and vice versa. It's the extent to which that access is negotiated. And I think that is up for grabs. I think not just with China, but with every country around the world, I think a Biden-Harris administration is re-examining afresh the relationships it has around the world. So I think definitely a re-examination of how do we work with China as another major economy that will imminently eclipse the American economy in terms of size, but also how do we work with the other countries and trading blocs around the world, not least the UK and especially the EU.
Absolutely. We're in the UK, and I'm sure you must have seen this morning a lot of British media are focusing on this special relationship between the UK and the US, which of course is kind of less important than it was at the end of World War II, but still it does have its strategic importance. Lots of people picking up on Biden's Irish ancestry, the fact that he's been pretty outspoken about the internal market bill and Boris Johnson's closeness with Donald Trump. What are you expecting there? Can we expect a US-UK trade deal anytime soon? Can we expect during the first phone conversation between Biden and Boris for Biden to weigh in on Brexit negotiations?
Well, firstly, I think that it's going to take a little while. The US is in no rush to finalize a trade agreement with the UK. I think for a number of reasons, mostly the domestic agenda that Biden and Harris will have to look after Americans. COVID-19 has disrupted the economy hugely and has disrupted people's lives, and people are dying in record numbers. The infection rate is the highest in the world per 100,000 in the United States. So Biden's got his hands full just coping with what he's got at home. I think, frankly, if you look at the size of the prize to get access to the EU marketplace for the US is a much bigger commercial opportunity. It's a much bigger trading bloc. It's not to say that the UK is insignificant, but with the UK leaving the EU with Brexit, it makes looking at Europe and making a US-EU trade agreement work would probably come ahead of making a US-UK one work. So I expect that the priority will be on that prize and that opportunity for US companies first, and then the UK second.
Finally, Allyson, I know a lot of us were enjoying using Twitter over the past few days because it was a Netflix on Twitter, really. There was so much going on there. But can you just explain why Brand USA is so important for consumers and why over the next 4 years we should be watching this Biden-Harris administration with a close eye?
Well, I think because at the moment it's still the world's largest economy. And for UK businesses, IORMA members, for example, the US bodes well for their commercial success. The opportunities to grow in the US are vast. And so for those that get it right, and those that are more interested because America seems a more normalized place, it seems a less volatile place, I think that British and European and companies from around the globe will be very interested now in seeing that that stability translates into policy and the Department of Commerce policy that's more welcoming, that's more inviting. We have, for example, under the Trump administration, the denial of visas for employees to be able to travel, work, live in the US, same for their spouses, same for students. I expect all of those barriers to be removed, and therefore the brand is obviously enhanced as soon as you allow people to travel there. And post-COVID, we will want people to keep coming and keep visiting, not just on holiday, but to come and visit and live and work in the country. And that's the best way that Brand USA reinvents itself, is by eliminating the artificial impediments that communicate you're not welcome. Well, actually, you are welcome.
Wow, Allyson Stewart-Allen, advisor, author, speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you.